speaking of TV or movies, I had just a magical moment. Finished Dirge of Cerberus, finished playing through that godforsaken game on the PlayStation 2 starring Vincent Valentine, the Final Fantasy VII game. The full archive is on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out there. I was playing through it with Grant and Ronnie. I felt bad because I felt like they're on the end of their rope for like, hey, this is 12 hours of watching this bad game remotely now. Like, this sucks. But we had a good time going through it nonetheless. And so finished that game, breathed a huge sigh of relief, and then was like, you know what I want to do more than anything? I want to watch the Star Wars Episode 9 documentary. And I went up and just collapsed on my couch and watched like that over 2-hour documentary in the making of Episode 9. And it was one of those feelings that I didn't get until really yesterday playing through Final Fantasy VII's remake, not playing through it with the first 6 hours. Anyways, but one of those feelings of just like, this is as good as entertainment can get. This is as satisfying as I could possibly imagine entertainment getting. This is exactly what I wanted. I love Star Wars. I love filmmaking. I love documentaries, and like, this is exactly what I wanted. And the documentary, it's not as good as like Episode 8's making of, but it's pretty cool. They don't focus on the transition between directors and stuff like that, obviously, but you get a good sense, or a much better sense at least, of J.J. Abrams and just like his passion overall, and just why Kathleen Kennedy, executive producer, would want him around. He's just like, oh, he's just a passionate, uplifting guy, and you get to see him geek out and just kiss John Williams' ass more than you could possibly imagine. I think it's really sweet, though. And so if you buy the special edition, you get it there. You can also find it on YouTube if you really want to look a little bit. I saw it in the Blank Check Reddit not too long ago. But they have the first 20 minutes, I think, on Star Wars' YouTube channel as well. And so on the John Williams front, there's an interesting bit where John Williams has that cameo in Rise of Skywalker, but apparently they decorated the background, which I didn't know, in honor of his 51 Academy Award nominations. So like all the things around him are like homages to work that he's done. So I'm trying to remember. I think there has to be a Jurassic Park homage. I forget what it is exactly. Maybe it's like a little metal dinosaur that's in the kind of the scrap heap behind him. But my favorite is they have a hook for the Hook soundtrack from John Williams on the shelf behind him, which is just so fun. The idea of like, oh, in Star Wars Episode 9, the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, they have a Hook reference in there. Oh, it's so sweet. But it makes you appreciate Episode 9 a little bit more. It's weird that like in the movie, one of the big complaints that I had at least is that it moves so fast. You don't get to feel anything. But when you're watching the making of, even just little things like, hey, here's the making of that scene on Pisana, I think, which is kind of like the tribal desert planet where everybody's celebrating and stuff. When 25 minutes of the making of are about what a pain in the ass that was to shoot, like you appreciate that scene so much more. And even like emotionally where Rey's at when she's walking through this crowd, and just the puppeteering. Apparently those were all Jordanian soldiers that were dressed up as, I forget the name of the alien race there, but it's just incredible. Or even little things like the snake scene in Episode 9, which I was like, oh, okay. I guess it slows down for this scene, but meh. But then in the making of, it's like, wait, they actually physically made that snake. I thought it was just CG, and it turns out they replaced a majority of it for the final film. But in that making of, you get to see that they practically made that giant snake, which is just mind-boggling. And so there's a lot of really cool details in there. And the star of the show is really having a lot of old archival interviews, because it's like it's framed in a really smart way for this overall documentary, where they're pulling from old making of interviews from Star Wars' history to try and wrap it up. So it's not so much like, oh boy, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3, but they'll pull interviews of like, okay, even with one of the earliest ones is it shows superfans trying to watch the filming of Return of the Jedi, and they're like on the fence in this desert trying to look at like Jabba's barge in the desert and being like, what is that? What could it possibly be? And this is why the editing is amazing, because they hold on that and interview one of those superfans, and he's like, I just can't wait to see all 9 Star Wars films. And he's saying this in like, 1982 or something like that. So it's just those clever details. Or, they have clips of Carrie Fisher after filming the first Star Wars where she's like, I'm sure I'll be playing Princess Leia when I'm 85. I can't get away from this character. And just like very smart ways to then transition to the new phase of the documentary overall. So check it out if you can find it. This was just a clip from MinnMax, which is our weekly Q&A for supporters on Patreon. Every Monday we stream for what we call the High Council, and we answer any question they have about the game industry, our past, MinnMax's future. And on the last Sunday of every month, we actually have a call-in version of MinnMax. So check out patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns and please give it a shot. Thanks so much.